All right, all right, all right. Well, we are back with our final game of the AM session of day one of the Scrabble Players Championship. A battle of two Canadians, Matthew Tunnicliffe of Ottawa, Josh Sokol of Montreal, two players who have won this field before in the NWL division, as we saw Will and Watnick, also former NWL champions, and both of these guys now playing Collins and playing Collins at a high level. Matthew has been playing incredible Scrabble. Just look at his recent results. He's had, I think he started a tournament like 15-0 against a stacked field. Josh, of course, no stranger to doing extremely well. He won the NWL division of the SPC just last year, but has shifted his focus over to Collins, and we'll see if he's able to put up similar results this year. Let's get this game underway. Let's play some Scrabble. Matthew Tunnicliffe, Josh Sokol from. Let's do it. There are two types of people, horizontal openers and sociopaths. And we put out a little survey to these players, asked them some serious questions about Scrabble, when they've been playing, who taught them, all that, but also some fun questions. And we'll try to work in some of those tidbits on there. Big debate over pineapples and pizza. And we'll bring you some of that drama later on in this tournament. But Matthew to go first, A-E-E-I-I-U and a blank, the quick trade 3. What do you think, Mike?
Looks like a trade 4, keeping AE. I might send the A back as well, but it's close. You know you're drawing into a bag with more consonants because you have 6 of the vowels, so keeping the second vowel is reasonable.
Yeah, sorry, exchange 4 there, correct. Yes, don't let me deceive you. And Josh, BLNOTVW, has very little time to think. He proves that he is a sociopath, opening vertically, as he's been doing for the past decade. Blown for 26, Josh's easy correct play there. And after his exchange, AAEEIR blank for Tunnicliffe. Not the pull he was looking for, but he will have just one playable bingo available to him this turn. It is a CSW only bingo, and I won't say it just yet. All right, that was long enough. Again, if you're new or just hopping in, we are going to be spoiling plays here in the commentary booth, talking about them. The play here for Matthew Tunnicliffe is a Wearied, A-W-E-A-R-I-E-D, 63 points through the W. It's a little frustrating. You expect to score a little bit more than 63, exchanging down to AE blank, especially getting 5 floaters. But it is what it is. Mike, you have to play the bingo here, right? You can't justify playing AE or AIA for 13.
No, not really. And the one list I make sure to study before every tournament is the 5 vowel bingos. And this is exactly why, because if you don't see a Wearied here, your next best play scores 13 and still keeps a bunch of vowels.
That's such a good point and such an important list of words to know. Your 5-voweled 7s, your 5-voweled 8s, and there's even a few 6-voweled 8s out there for you. But like Mike said, it's so important to hit these words, to hit them every time, because if you don't play a Wearied in this situation, you score 13 and hold vowels and then frown a whole bunch. So huge list of words. If you haven't studied it yet, definitely take a peek at those 5-voweled 8s and those 5-vowel bingos in general. I'm not sure why Matthew's taking so long here. I guess he wants to make absolutely certain that this is his only bingo. He's going to look through the B, through the L, through the N. I might have actually just autopiloted over the W, not even thought about synergizing my 5 vowels with the W, but a Wearied has to be a word that comes up frequently enough. I just saw that blank slip slowly disappear.
Yeah, it looks like Josh grabbed it.
Josh grabbed it. Josh takes away the blank slip. All right, I love that.
A little bit of psychological warfare.
Matt's going to reach over and grab it right back in a few seconds. That's the power move. Oh, you want the blank slip? No, sir. Mine.
Matthew looks like he's making some notes, trying to go through all of the potential, writing out all of the, writing down on a score, something like AABEEIR blank, AAEILR blank, just trying to see if any of those alphagrams, as we call them, arranging the letters in alphabetical order, looks familiar from his studies.
Yeah, and that's how most of these players study. Matthew's a little bit different than some others. I think he's a vowels first guy. He puts all of the vowels at the beginning and then the consonants at the end. We saw Joe Wapnick do exactly the same thing last game. He famously studies that way as well. But he's writing out A-A-E-E-I-B-R, A-A-E-E-I-L-R. And that, I think, is the real sociopath behavior. Just put your letters in alphabetical order, dude. I think he's finally come to the conclusion that either a wearied or a sad play is all he's got. Though I still think it's been 5 minutes now and a wearied hasn't come down. I hear people in the commentary booth say all the time, the longer a person waits, the more likely it is that they've missed the best play. I sincerely doubt Matthew Tunnicliffe would miss a wearied, but it's tough to look through that W. Chat, what do you think? Is Tunnicliffe going to miss a bingo here?
I mean, I would have missed it, but I don't study Collins, so...
Oh, he's missed it. Or passed it.
I think missed is more likely, but he hasn't missed it yet. He hasn't hit his clock.
Players start to build this spidey sense of like, I just feel like this can't be correct. I feel like there's got to be something. And I don't know what it is about the human subconscious, but you see that's what's going on with Matthew right now. That like, this doesn't feel right. But after almost 6 minutes of deliberation, Matthew's missed his only playable bingo or foregone his only playable bingo. One to ask him about afterwards. AE the play, 11 points. And Josh, AEHTVYY.
So having seen Matthew take that long, I would be very strongly inclined to infer really strong tiles, probably including a blank, because it wouldn't have taken Matthew 5 minutes to go through all of his options if he didn't have a blank. So I would be inclined to make a more closed play, something like heavy hooking yaw, which shuts off most of the floaters and actually makes the board pretty hostile to bingos.
This placement of heavy is even better. Heavy making va and a yen. I like this. Yaw is good, but this is better. Yeah, you've got the front EYEN hook and the back S, but otherwise devastates the board. That's exactly what Josh is looking to do. He could have played this for 3 more points with HAW and EEN, but I love the decision to make a sacrifice here. 3 points left on the table to obstruct the double and just make Matthew's life as difficult as possible. I agree. You can infer a blank on Matt's rack a lot, especially given that he starts writing things down and shuffling and all of that. And Josh making what I think is a very wise decision here, blocking. He's now ahead 57-11. And somehow, because of Josh's block, Matt has no playable bingos this turn. You can't expect to not bingo holding AEIR blank and picking up 2 consonants. And yet, no playable bingos here for Tunnicliffe. Whoa.
There is a cool play available. You can play Furlier through the EL on the double for 36, and that might be the best option available to him.
Furlier is actually 40, and definitely 40, yeah. I think the best option to him. Just all of the other intermediate plays feel weird. ARF alongside heavy, making AHRE, and FA is 26, holds EIR blank, but it doesn't construct the board in the way you'd like to construct this board. That blank slip is appearing back into view. Josh slides it back over, like, now you can bingo. But surprise, Josh, Matthew's not going to bingo again. And then you're going to sit there contemplating, wow, did I just try to flex on stream and accidentally make an incorrect tell and then mess with everybody sliding this blank slip around? The next gen strats from Josh here. I love it. Matthew's going to spend another 6 minutes on this turn. This one feels like it has to bingo. And it's only because I have the engine open that I know there's no bingos anywhere, not even nines, not through the AO, not through the EL, not anywhere. Matthew's going to spend over 10 minutes on the first 2 turns here, I think, and come out with like 40 points and sadness.
So he set up a ref, which would hook EHFE on the left side of heavy for a reasonable score.
A ref is not valid.
Maybe he was setting up something else through something I'm not seeing.
Yeah. I don't know what he's looking at here. Is he looking to fish RF? Some players telegraph what they're thinking really obviously when they're on stream. Others do not. And I don't know what Matthew is thinking here, but I do see frustration on his face. And, yeah, warranted. Is there any reason to pass up on the 40-point double-double of Furlier over like one of these intermediate plays like ARF or F in your mind, Mike?
Not that I see. Furlier, aside from being the highest score, also opens up. Okay, he did see Furlier. He didn't have it set up on his rack at all, but
I must have been looking for 9-letter plays, but he has seen it. He spotted it. And now, yeah, Josh is like, well, I bet he's holding the blank. That's bad, but okay.
And
all right.
Josh's rack.
EIMR. Yeah, Josh is a really tough decision here. Given that you think Matt has a blank a lot, given he already grabbed the blank slip and moved it away just to troll, the blank is in Matt's range a whole lot of the time. You really want to take away the E and the R as floaters. You really want to limit the opportunity for him to bingo. Josh showed he wanted to play defense last turn. He's got to do it again this turn, but I don't see great ways for him to do that. It feels a little bit crazy to just plunk 2 tiles above or beneath this, ME or YE or something like that. And I'm not seeing any good words that don't take hooks that you can play in these spots. Big turn for Josh. I don't see a right answer yet. He doesn't either.
If there were a T open for temerity, that would be beautiful, but there isn't.
Ooh, temerity would be nice, yeah. But that would be the only 8, too, in this rack. Temerity, the only 8 opportunity for Josh. I don't know how Josh is going to approach this turn. Josh loves to adjust his play based on his opponent's range and his own leave. He's very, very good at doing that. But this is a hard turn to adapt to and overcome. I think it's easy to justify a play like Emery, E-M-E-R-Y, making E-R. That's 30 points. Putting a Y in a triple-triple doesn't feel dangerous. Scoring 30 feels great. And if you think Matt's got a blank a lot of the time, then you get to stack on top of Emery. But this, from a sheer equity perspective, was, I think, Josh's best play. Do nothing to block. Just play off YE. Keep yourself in bingo range. And if Matthew does bingo, just try to bingo right back. Makes a lot of sense to do this, too.
And Matt, as we see, has drawn an S, but also the J. On first glance, something like Dojo over the ER of Furlier looks pretty obvious. Scoring 29, setting up the S hook for yourself. And if that S hook gets taken by Josh, it opens up the triples for you.
Yeah, if Josh has an S and cashes it in, then you get to bingo on a triple word score next turn. Dojo also scores 29 points, making OY, and that forks the board. It puts a D in a triple line and creates a second bingo line. It's impossible for Josh to thwart both of those at once because the J has no front hooks. So Dojo is a board forking play that I think, or Dojo and OY, I think maximizes Matthew's bingo percentage next turn, but Dojo on top of Furlier limits Josh's scoring options and sets up the S. I think this is the stronger placement here. Matthew agrees. The other one's fun, but I think ultimately incorrect. And Josh into EIMRT has picked up an E and an N. He'll have 2 playable bingos on this turn. The play of Dojo blocked his bingo using the R in Furlier, but the O in Dojo exposes a new 8-letter bingo for Josh, and there's a 9-letter bingo available for Josh, though I'll let you determine what that is. It's determine. The word is determine. I'm just making dad jokes. Chat loved that one. Good. I'll be here for all 5 days. You're stuck with me and my dad jokes, and they're not going anywhere. So determine is 66 for Josh. Timoneer, Timoneer, is 72 for Josh. Mike, do you play Timoneer? Open the triple when you're almost certain Matthew has a blank?
I do not.
Determine?
Yeah. If I see determine, I play it. But and Josh is pretty good at finding these sorts of plays. But for every one of those, even for the best players in the world, it's looking for nines is not something that instinctually comes to most of us unless you're Dave Wiegand.
Yeah, nines are tough to spot, and people don't know the alphagrams are nowhere near as solid as them. But Josh certainly can see determine. He probably already has seen determine and is now thinking about the tactical decision. Another thing about determine is I hate playing a word if I don't know its hooks. And determine, like, okay, it definitely takes a D, it definitely takes an R, an S. Does it take an R? If I play determine and then Matthew bingos next turn and makes determiner, like, how do I feel about that? If I play determine and then I draw a bingo and I have to make determiner, am I willing to pull the trigger on that? It's hard to play a word if you're not certain of the hooks, and a 9 to make 10 hook. Determiner feels like it should be good, but it also feels really stupid. So I don't know. This is a hard turn for Josh, even assuming you see other plays.
Okay, having not looked it up, I'm inclined to say yes, and now I will look.
Very good. It is indeed good, at least in CSW. I haven't checked the other one. Josh is just not going to bingo at all. Okay. We saw Josh missed a high probability 8-letter Collins only bingo at the Albany July 4th tournament. He revealed, like, yeah, I really haven't studied much Collins. Timoneer is another CSW only 8. I don't know if Josh didn't know it or hasn't studied it enough for it to be repetition, or if he deliberately bypassed it because he just felt like he was going to get triple. But that is definitely a turn that should be circled for Josh on this play. And also highlights how hard it is to shift over to CSW. You can be brilliant at NWL, but then in CSW you have to learn like thousands of new words to be an effective player. And this one missed by Josh or passed by Josh, I'm not sure, but one we'll ask him about afterwards. ANSPTV blank, the rack for Matt. And he does have one playable bingo again on this turn. That is PROVANTS, through the O in Dojo. He set it up, but this 7, Provant, looks like it, or Provant, Provant, it looks like it might be an adjective, but it's actually a verb. Provant is a word meaning to provide or to supply with provisions. So Provant does take the S. And I guess that's what Matthew is deciding on here. Is this word actually valid or not?
Yeah, that particular, there's a bunch of categories of words that you know we are difficult to keep straight just because you're studying them, kind of out of context in a lot of ways. And so unless you've specifically drilled something like this, or which OID words take an S, which ING words take an S, as we saw earlier. Um, unless you specifically drilled that, it can be difficult in the moment to convince yourself of something like that. And I have a story about that. As Matthew, I presume, just misses. I find it hard to think that if he was sure of the word, he would pass it up.
In 5 point, like, it gets challenged almost every time. And I guess, to make the logic work out, you have to be 90%-ish or more sure. I guess he's not 90%-ish or more sure. So he passes up on this one. And now we've seen 3 missed bingos already. 2 for Matthew, 1 for Josh. I said Nationals is a long tournament. You can't just make the best move some of the time. You have to make it right all of the time. But we're seeing uncharacteristic blunders from both of these players right now.
And Josh has drawn one of the famous racks that makes a whole bunch of 8-letter words, but no 7s. And I don't offhand see how any of the potential 8s play. Ironyist having gotten blocked, unless...
No, yeah, Ironyist blocked, and no playable bingos for Josh on this turn. This is like watching a train wreck in slow motion right now. This game is just feels so bad for both of these players right now. Josh has a very frustrating, weird decision he has to make. And the players have put themselves in this situation by making some uncharacteristically poor moves. A lot of the time, Scrabble players will come up to me and ask what to do in a situation like this. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't be in this situation because 3 turns ago, you should have done this, or this instead. And that's kind of where both players are right now. They back themselves into corners. Josh forced now to fish this eye after missing a bingo last turn. And I think finally we'll get out of this jumbled mess, as Matthew has EIPSTW blank and definitely will bingo on this turn. If Matt doesn't bingo on this turn, I might just get up and walk out. So I'm tired of this. Three playable bingos for Matthew. 2 of them are the same word in different places. That word makes the blank an A. It's Tawpies, Tawpies, plays with WEM on the left side of the board or with Vant on the right side of the board. And the highest scoring option for Matthew is Inswept, INSWEPT, making dojos for 89. So Inswept for 89 or Tawpies for 84 on the left side are the bingos Matt is going to deliberate between here. Or maybe he'll just keep missing bingos and surprise me. Just kidding. Matt's a really good player. He's not going to miss more bingos this game. Oh my goodness. And he's playing Tawpies. He's missed Inswept, which gives Josh what, Mike?
Well, as we like to, as I believe the rest of the world calls it, a 9-timer, but we typically call it a triple, and this is going to be. I'll give the chat a few seconds to find it.
Yeah, the chat saw the sequence before the play even went down. So the miss of the 89-point Inswept, and Josh wastes no time putting down Strident. His 140-point triple. Josh just fished 1 tile, and then Matthew gave him a triple when he didn't need to. I'm sure it's because Matthew didn't see Inswept immediately and is rushing because he's had so many difficult decisions. But that is a huge blunder from Matthew and the ultimate punishment from Josh.
And we see the way the butterfly effect kind of works in Scrabble games, all of this in a way stems back from on Matt's second turn after his opening exchange, missing a wearied. That's a completely different game if he finds that bingo. And instead we have this situation where both players' racks are random, Matt's down 50 with reasonable scoring plays to get, mind you.
Despite the bungles from both players, like this game is still wide open, and Matt has multiple very high scoring options on the left side of the board, and Josh has just drawn another bingo that plays. Matt has either BHAGEE or its anagram BEEGAH, and Matt is a word machine. He's spotted Budgie. He's going to play it. That's 47, so that'll catch him right back up in this game, actually make it tied. And then Josh will be put on the spot. He's drawn another reasonably high probability Collins bingo, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pull the trigger on it or if he studied it at all. The bingo on Josh's rack is GAUMIER and plays with Vang right now. Matthew has set up Budgie on his rack, or Buggy, or whatever this word is, but he is so low on time. Like, this seems like such an insta play, and yet he's still taking his time on this turn. I wonder if the clock is going to catch up to him. He doesn't seem like the type to be phased by a low clock. He can play quickly, but we'll see if time remains a factor in this game. 47 points makes this a tie game, and Josh, perhaps for the stream, left his tiles alphagrammed, but finally now on his clock sets up Gaumier. Looks like we've got a small score dispute. The players are double checking their math right now as the clock is stopped, and then we'll get to see if Josh is able to pull the trigger on Gaumier.
And you can see the definitions of the words played scrolling on the bottom of the screen, which is helpful to us because a lot of these words are, unfamiliar to us as well.
Yeah, these Collins-only words, I get reamed in the YouTube comments and the Twitch comments afterwards because I have no idea how to pronounce them. I don't even know how to pronounce the NWL words, but a word I've never seen before in my life. I just guess. Now I know this is an alternate spelling of BHAJI, Baji. So that's probably how you pronounce this. An Indian appetizer. All right, next time I see this on a menu, I'm 100% ordering it. And Josh has, I think, talked himself out of Gaumier. He's pulled back. He's set up this word instead, MAUGER, which plays right now for 40 points. But if Josh misses a bingo here, he's going to get tripled back on with trucking for 1,000 points. What is happening in Scrabble right now?
And as you said, this demonstrates the difficulty in juggling two lexica, and the part of the reason I haven't made the transition is that I want to make the transition once and be done with it, and rather than trying to keep straight to two dictionaries and try to play tournaments in both. So when the time is right, that switch will happen. But you see part of the reason why it's taken me so long to pull the trigger.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir. I'm right there with you on it is almost impossible to juggle the two lexica. God,
and I think Matthew just pulled the blank slip back over to his side of the board.
I love it. The gamesmanship between these two. They know each other very well. This is not poor sportsmanship. This is just trolling between two good friends. And here comes Mauger. So each player making a big mistake, and each player is going to get absolutely massacred for their mistake. Matthew missing inswept, playing top, he's getting triple, and Josh is getting trucked. I love it. Matthew even puts down the first and last letter exactly like Josh did, and we're seeing our second triple of the game on stream. This is awesome. This is peak content, peak Scrabble. 167 for trucking. Oh my goodness.
How only these two players could combine to miss 4 bingos and somehow have 700 points combined with 30 tiles to play.
We're gonna see 1,000-point game, and it's gonna be one of the worst played games of the tournament on stream. I love it. Scrabble is an incredible game, and it just gives so much, like this gem. Josh at this point needs to play Zit and ZO and open a third triple triple. I think that's what the people want. So Josh, give us what the people want.
I mean, that is pretty much the only way to score with the Z on this board. Maybe just ZO instead.
ZO is just going to get crushed with Zoa, or Zoo plays. Maybe you play ZOO, maybe you play ZIT, but I do think you almost have to play in that spot, especially now that you're suddenly down by over 100 points since you just got trucked with trucking for 167. Jeez, what a game. And Matthews pulled the Q, which has huge opportunities above trucking, but he's missed both the U and the I to score there. He's got quota set up for 48 right now, but maybe he wants to think about holding on to the Q and trying to score 70 instead of just 48. I don't know. This game is really hard. My brain is broken. I think my brain broke 2 turns into this one when Matthew missed a wearied, and all of this feels like a strange fever dream to me right now. Mike, can you confirm, is this real life?
As far as I can see on my screen, yes.
Wow. This is real life between 2,000 rated players who have combined to miss 4 bingos and also triple twice. All right. What a day. I know we've seen a few games with 2 triple triples. It's extremely rare, but it has happened. Probably a handful of instances. Yeah, I see Jeremy Hildebrand in chat asking, would 3 triple triples be a world record? There's got to be no real competitive game of Scrabble where 3 triple triples organically happened. It's got to be set up.
I know I have heard of games where one player has had 2. I don't think there's been one where the other player also had one, but I could be wrong about that.
Somebody do some programming stuff. There's all sorts of smart people who can figure it out, dig through the annotated games or find the record sheet, but 3 triple triples has almost never happened. I guess 2 triple triples in the same game has happened 10 times or less in recorded tournament play. And we got it right here for you on the stream. You're welcome. Josh foregoes any of his Z plays at all. He's going to drop OTTO in this instance, and I wish I could provide you more commentary, but I think maybe he just doesn't want to open up huge scoring opportunities. If he plays Zit or Zoo on top of Dojo, it sets up major Azo overlaps. And I feel like maybe he thinks he gets crushed too often, and the Z has too much utility on this board. So he foregoes everything, and crucially, blocks quota for Matthew. So AEOOQST now for Matthew, and he can drop the Q for 31 on top of the I in trucking. He can exchange.
He's going to take 30.
Yeah,
which looks right to me.
And you would love to try to play off like OOE somewhere for 25 if you can, but those plays almost never exist. You can't go for the turnover and try to draw another I for your Q. You just got to cash it now. And there's your I. Enjoy, Matthew.
Yeah, as absurd as it sounds, this game is not over. If Josh can come up with a way to score well with the Z and then draw into a bingo, we still got a live game here.
Just trying to figure out how Josh can pull into a bingo or score well is going to be the challenge here. Lots of intermediate options, but nothing that looks exciting at all. LUZ plays in a few spots, LUZ and Lotto. LUZ, and Devil. Those are things Josh can do, but the DDIR combination really wants an E to synergize with it, and there's only 2 E's left. This is an extremely hard turn for Josh in a game that feels like it's slipping away, but he's got to make some last-ditch effort. Nobody better than Josh to figure out what that effort should be, but I don't see a good one so far.
Maybe just Zin and QI for 33. Again, there's not going to be a good leave to keep on this board, so you may as well score as many points. There's enough tiles in the bag that you can't be put in a situation where you're not going to be able to exchange next turn if it comes to that. Having said that, I would really want to turn over more tiles and try to get to the S's in the bag. The bag is not particularly dangerous. Maybe a little Val heavy, but not particularly clunky.
I think Josh is looking at playing Dud on top of Dojo, maybe? DUD and DO? Just trying to set up opportunities. Maybe he hits something crazy like auto-lized through the UT in Mauger and Auto or something, but you've got to try to create other spots on this board in order to have some success. So DUI is what Josh is thinking about right here. This would set up opportunities to draw stuff like, Frizz, this huge bingo-esque Z plays right now. But that's a spot that's always going to get blocked by Matthew, assuming he has even anything reasonable on his rack at all. I don't know. I think DUD and hold the Val makes more sense here, but it's a tough turn for Josh. Josh agrees. Oh, Josh is maybe fishing. Yeah, okay, pointed out in chat. Looks like he might be fishing for Lizard and Devil, Lizard. And so, yeah, okay. Josh is pulling a little fake maneuver here. Looks like he's setting up a desperation triple, but actually the entire time he's fishing for Lizard and not anything else. Cool idea by Josh. He does this so well. Adjusts his leave and the possibilities he can draw to the board. And there you go, FCK. I think that summarizes Josh's thoughts on this game and on that draw in general. I'll let you add an extra tile to that to make a valid word. And that's a yikes. A TAO, the quick play from Matthew in response. And I think Josh's poor draw makes this one all but done. And I'm ready to get away from this one. I think both of these players would like to get away from this board as well. This one's been so strange.
I do have a distinct memory of playing a particularly frustrating game, where nothing was working right, and tried to set up a desperation fish with 2 tiles in the bag, and the last 2 tiles in the bag were an F and a U. And it's like, yeah, that's appropriate.
Scrabble sending not so subliminal messages sometimes, and Josh getting one of them right here. But this was not the game I expected to watch when Josh Sokol and Matthew Tunnicliffe sat down. But I'm pleased that I got it because it shows me that even these very, very solid players have their moments of humanity. FLOC, the play for Josh as we approach the end of this one. That's kind of a white flag from him, and a warranted white flag at this point.
Yeah. Fortunately, he will have a lunch break to try and shake it off.
Fortunately for us, we got the content, the double, triple. We're not going to see that again this tournament if I had to put any money on it at all. So are you not entertained? There you go. This is going to be the end of our morning CWL session, but there's still plenty more Scrabble to come. We're playing 7 games a day in South Bend. So 4 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and we're doing that for the first 4 days of play, followed by a best of 5 finals for the players in first and second. Tons of Scrabble still to come. I do want to do my thank you parade while we have kind of these lull moments. I already gave a shout out to tournament director Art Moore, and the next person who deserves a shout out is Mike Frentz. Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time, rolling with a bunch of punches that we've had this morning with delays, with me communicating time zones incorrectly. Really appreciate you taking the time, sharing your knowledge, wisdom, and attitude with us on stream. Thanks, Mike.
Glad to be here. Glad for the opportunity, and looking forward to watching the rest of the tournament. As we make our way down to determine national champions.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more Scrabble to come, but this is the only game or the only session we have Mike for. FOU? What is Matthew doing? He's just trying to give us the extra triple.
I think this might be for the content at this point. I would have done Louise and Devil to leave 7 in the bag and make sure Josh can't bingo twice, but and
Josh must have given like a discernible tell, but you see him shaking his head like, what on earth did you just do? And I'm not even going to try to answer. I think Matthew trying to give us some content. I bet Josh gave him a tell or something like that. That's a play that looks so weird. And Josh just breaking down, giggling at whatever Matthew decided to do. But thanks for the shot, Matthew. We appreciate the opportunity to see Scrabble history with the third triple. And Josh won't block it, but Matthew's drawn I and won't be able to cash in. I'm still convinced that I'm about to wake up and it's going to be the morning of day one. Like, this feels like a fever dream to me. This entire game does not feel like it's legitimately happened at the North American Championship.
Josh might actually end up just taking the points and trying to minimize spread here, which would be the first sane thing that's happened in this game.
I think Josh's first move of blown probably made some sense, and then nothing else in this game. Yeah, like you said, no sane moves. Oh my goodness. I can't do 27 more games like this. Okay.
The chat says the real competition will be Matthew's annotation versus Josh's post-mortem stream.
Yeah, Matthew puts up a lot of his games on cross-tables.com with his thoughts about each move, why he did or didn't make it, and he can be really, really funny in those. So if you haven't seen any of them, go check some of them out. But this one, I think, is going to be an all-timer. And, of course, Josh puts out all sorts of Scrabble content. If you haven't found Josh yet, he's on YouTube, he's on Twitch, he's a streamer, he's got a big online presence. Look him up. Find him on some of the different platforms and show him some love because he puts a lot of stuff. But yeah, I agree. Josh's video on this game, and I expect we'll get a video on this game. Matthew's thoughts on this game. Somebody please make this fever dream make some sense to me.
Amazingly, Josh has drawn a bingo here. It doesn't play at the moment, but if Matthew slips up and plays something like loin hooking QI, that the loin hook will let Xander's come down and possibly make this an end game.
That would be the most appropriate ending to what has been weird. I don't even have words for this game. Yeah, come on, give us more, or just open another triple.
Oh, I'm seeing in chat that trucking does take an S.
Oh my god! So Matthew's gonna fish an I. Josh is gonna play Xander's and trucking. He's gonna pick up 5 extra points on the challenge, and then Matthew's gonna bingo out through it anyway. That's probably how we see this one end. And we're gonna get 1,000 total points in a game where players each miss 2 bingos. I have no words.
I mean, words are supposed to be our specialty, but there's nothing for this. This is
And here's loin, so Xander's and Aloin can come down, and Josh doesn't even have to make the trucking's decision. There's Eloin.
And from if we're trying to play actual, strategic Scrabble here, it looks like Olean might be the line. Just again to leave one in the bag and make.
How crazy would it be if Matthew fishes an I, QI and IN, and then seeds Xander's for 105?
That's not going to happen. He's going to play Olean, right. Perhaps the. So that is 17 by my math.
Yep, 389 to 382. Xander's is going to be 89 for Josh, and then it's going to yield Axe back. What?
And this is assuming that Josh. If I'm Josh, I think there's no other way to have a chance in this game. And seeing that Xander's concedes X a good percentage of the time, unless literally the X is in the bag.
There can't be an A in the bag because there's two A's. So yeah, Xander's gives back X Xander's is game over. Like Josh knows that he loses, but Josh is going to sit here and think, if I pass a bingo, if I fish an A and draw another A, can I set up Xander's in two spots and bingo out? And against an absolutely abysmal player, there's like a 1% chance that sequence works, but you're not playing an abysmal player. You're playing Matthew Tunnicliffe. He's also probably not 100% sure on trucking, but I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen, especially not in this game. We will shift over to NWL play for the last 3 games this afternoon. I'm going to try to confirm the time that we're going to be back on stream with everybody and make sure we communicate that before we shut down for this morning session. But NWL this afternoon, I believe the plan is morning sessions on day 1, 2, and 3 to either show 100% Collins or do a Collins focus, depending on which co-commentators I actually get to roll through and show up. And then afternoons, we're going to focus on NWL. I also think days 4 and 5, we're going to try to be flexible and go to wherever drama is. Though the number of stellar players in this field and the fact that it's not a Gibsonization event, but a best of 5 finals between somebody in first and somebody in second, I think there's going to be drama everywhere in this one. So we will keep you posted on Lexica, but expect this afternoon, 100% will be all NWL. Expect tomorrow morning and day 3 in the morning to be CSW, and every afternoon, all tournament to be NWL for those of you at home. Slated to be back from lunch at 2:30 Eastern time. I'll let you adjust from there. So we'll have about an hour and 15 minutes to try to figure out what Matthew and Josh smoked before this game and try to decipher what on earth happened.
I have not seen Josh set up the word Xander's on his rack at all. I'd be shocked if he missed it, but stranger things have happened within the last hour, so...
This is the most appropriate end to what has been the most inappropriate game of Scrabble I've ever seen played between 2,000 rated players. All right, cool. Fish the Z. Don't play Xander's for 89. And then somebody please go so I don't have to watch this anymore.
Are we up to 5 missed bingos and at least 1 suboptimally placed?
Yes. We sent out a survey to all players before the tournament asking, on a scale from 1 to 10, how prepared do you feel you are? Sent it out to all Division I players in both CSW and NWL. ratings for that ranged from 2 to 10. Josh Sokol, one of the players who put down a 3. Only 1, 2 on those results. Josh gave us a 3, and I'm trying to find where Matthew Tunnicliffe put himself on that same scale. He rated himself as a 7. And I put in there as well, if you had to describe your Scrabble brand or style in 5 words or less, how would you do it? Matthew put, hope this is a word. Which I love.
So somehow we did this without any phonies, which would have been the capstone on certainly. I granted I haven't done much in the way of commentary, but certainly the weirdest game I've ever streamed, and probably for yours too.
I've streamed some wild ones, but this one's up there. I don't think I've ever had another game that made me state multiple times, I'm pretty sure this is a fever dream. Now we're getting Jeremy in chat saying, can we check the room for carbon monoxide poisoning? And I feel like it's a warranted, like what? I don't have words for this one other than to say that I think Matt got away with maybe his sloppiest performance in a very long time and is going to come out with a 100-point win anyway. And thanks for the content to both of these guys. Appreciate it. All right. I think the only thing that would make me feel even more like this is a fever dream is another fish. And that's what we get here. Just kidding. This is actually Josh's correct end game sequence, which is awesome.
Wait, what?
Yes, because it holds Sander and Devis, which is going to be his highest scoring out sequence, force Matt to make a big sacrifice to block. This is Josh's best end game. And he finds it in a game where nothing else made any sense. Of course you find the 4-point plunk that is your best end game sequence.
And Matthew was clearly expecting some different play. I don't know how he could possibly expect anything in this particular case, but
all right, and then he blocks Sander and seeds Sander here instead. Josh just found the best end game in like 8 seconds on top of that. He goes out with 0-0-0 on his clock, 0-0-6 on Tunnicliffe's clock. And finally, this one is over. Thank goodness. 532 to 417 is the final in this one when it's all said and done. 4 missed bingos, 2 triple triples, 2 extremely confused commentators in the box, and 194 entertained viewers on Twitch. There we go.
Can we get the overhead camera, please?
Yeah.
What a stupid game, man. I had to blank my first turn. I don't think I did. I probably missed like 8 bingos or some shit.
Me too.
Shouldn't
Even without
listening to us.
whatever.
Oh my god. And then like I'm pretty sure 6-ain is a word, SAXAIN.
Okay.
Because you can spell like wheat-tain like that, and 6-ain has an E on the end, but I was like, can you spell 6-ain both ways? That's like a million points there if it's good. I'm actually.
That was a nice content play. Appreciate that.
It was just like far and away my equity play, and like ZX unseen and all this other crap and vowels, and I'm like, he's never triple tripling. So okay, no. Here's my reasoning. There's never been a game with 3 triple triples, so it's not gonna happen now. It literally can't happen.
I know, it was great.
So yeah, I did that because I knew it was impossible for 3 triple triple.
Triple triples is impossible.
3 triple triples is impossible. So
never happened. I could feel it playing in my head. I could feel the scenario playing in my head.
and you did it anyways.
Yeah, because it's epic. It's better. It has to be better.
Can they hear on the stream in order to say something? They can't. I will say the thing. It's not for all audiences.
It has to be better. Like Mirage, like I cannot imagine Mirage being better. Just such easy overlaps, and the E is just as stupid as we are.
I just like collapsed with that blank. I couldn't bingo, and you wouldn't give me spots.
Like kept blocking my thing. So that was good. I mean, you were going to. I figured you would. Terminate whatever it was. Ironiest. I probably missed some calls. Or some stuff, actually. Oh, Jonathan's been drawing so bad.
I think both players hitting the nail on the head. I probably missed 1,000 things. This was the stupidest game ever. Kind of summarizes our thoughts. And I didn't even see the miss of 6-ain at the end, SIXAIN, and Davies for like 70. We were too busy trying to figure out everything else going on. But what an absolutely bonkers game from both of these guys. We'll see. It looks like they're going to get away from the board, and rightly so after this one. This has certainly been the most entertaining Scrabble tournament I have covered so far.
And we still got 27 games to go.
We still have 27 or more games to go, too. That's the craziest part. We are back in an hour and 5 minutes with rounds 5, 6, and 7 of the Scrabble Players Championship, hosted in South Bend, Indiana, and sponsored by NASPA. The other sponsor of this stream is Scrabble Go, and we want to point out that Scrabble Go has just updated its NWL lexicon to match the one that is going to be used by tournament players here. The new words have been added. So Scrabble Go with all the new words. Thank you to what they do and providing what we need to get this stream together. Shout out all of our sponsors. We will be back in an hour, but first, I want to take one more opportunity to thank Mike Frentz for his time and hopping on the stream. Mike, what last words do you have for our audience today?
That, you know, as this tournament continues, just remember that, you know, everybody playing this game is human. Everybody will make mistakes. You know, be kind. These are people, and just enjoy the, you know, the high level of play, and also the fact that these players can also laugh at themselves a bit, and to, you know, it's a long tournament. That things are going to be, you know, there's going to be good plays, there's going to be bad plays. It's who does the best in the long haul, as you said.
Everybody, aside from Nigel Richards, is human in this game. Everybody has their moments of humility. Certainly one here on stream, but a very entertaining game. Mike, thanks for joining us. Y'all at home, thanks for joining us as well, and we will see you all back here in an hour. Adios.